I really like Pokemon. I've been a fan of the games ever since I got my first copy of Red, Blue, and Yellow for Christmas when I was just a knee-high goblin. But I am the definition of a casual fan of this franchise, so it was a bit of a big choice for me to try and do a Nuzlocke when I first started streaming.
Hey boss, you gotta be specific so you don't lose anyone. If you don't know, Nuzlocke is a special way to play Pokemon for masochists. Really, there are only 2 rules. 1, you can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter on each route. 2, if a Pokemon faints, that bitch is dead. No second chances. In addition to these basic rules, this idiot decides to torture himself more by playing on set mode and not using items in battle.
Yeah, thanks, Slizzy. I have a grasp on the mechanics of the games that could be described as tenuous at best. But I knew that my chat would enjoy the suffering, and I thought this would be a great chance for me to develop a new level of appreciation for a franchise that I've loved since my childhood. The first question was, which game did I want to try as my first Nuzlocke? Well, that choice was actually pretty easy. Thanks to the advice of who many would regard as the world's best Nuzlocker, I decided to pick my favorite generation as the one to start with. So we went with Alpha Sapphire. Shout out, by the way, to Jan over on Pokemon Challenges on Twitch. Without his content, I don't know that I would have ever felt confident enough to try a Nuzlocke to begin with. So, thanks, Jan.
Okay.
So I booted up my stream, started the game, began my first ever Nuzlocke, and
then got his ass handed to him 3 times in a row!
well, I wouldn't put it exactly like that. I mean, I didn't do so terribly.
Yeah, right. You got wrecked and you know it. First time through, you let May nuke your team with her Grovyle before you made it to the 3rd gym. Then on the 2nd try, even though you beat Flannery, she dumpstered you so hard you decided to start over on the spot. And then on the 3rd one, you got so far just to let that chump Archie sick his Mega Sharpedo on you, and...
Yeah, but Slizzy, we're not here to talk about those runs. We're here to talk about the 4th run, the one where I finally made it. This is the story of that run. I started my adventure, and at the behest of my Twitch chat, I picked the female trainer and named her Zol, after a gender-bent version of myself that one of my supporters made. Don't ask any questions about that. You start asking questions, you fall down a Vtuber rabbit hole, things get real weird real fast, and then you end up doing what I'm doing. Just don't ask questions. Trust me on this one. Anyway, I saved Professor Birch and got my first Pokemon, and then just sex-partied the Mudkip. I chose Mudkip because I knew that the ground typing that it picks up later would make it incredibly powerful. And really, I only needed to worry about the rival battles, having a powerful grass type to endanger it. I ventured up Route 103, and after absolutely dunking on Brendan and his Trico, I returned to Birch, grabbed some Pokeballs, said goodbye to my mom, and set about expanding my team. I went up to Route 101, and the first encounter there was a Poochyena. I caught her, no problem, named her Nightwish. Next, I headed up to Route 103 and caught a Zigzagoon, naming him Kiss. I avoided an encounter on Route 102 and headed straight to Petalburg, where I met my dad and helped Wally catch a Ralts. Route 104 was next, and there I encountered Beach Boys the Wingull, and then King Crimson in Petalburg Woods. Now I backtrack to Route 102. The reason I skipped this before was to try and skew the odds in favor for a certain encounter, since I'm not allowed to catch duplicates by already having caught a Poochyena, Zigzagoon, and a Wurmple. I made it so that the only encounters I could have on this route were Lotad, Ralts, and Surskit. I was hunting for a Ralts for 2 reasons. 1, because Gardevoir is my favorite Pokemon, and I swear to God, if anyone says, ha ha ha, I bet it is, we're gonna fight! Second of all, Fairy and Psychic is a really powerful typing combination. But I ended up getting the 14% Lotad and naming him Tono Rosario. From there, I continued on through Petalburg Woods, where King Crimson evolved and on to Rustboro City. Tono Rosario made easy work of most of the gym by herself, but Ninja Sex Party trashed Roxanne's level 14 Nosepass. I won, hadn't lost anyone yet, and King Crimson hit his final evolution. This run was off to a good start. I grabbed some repels so that I could avoid the risk of wasting an encounter on Route 116 on a Whismur, and headed into Rust Turf Tunnel to grab the guaranteed Whismur, who I named Skrillex. and much like his namesake was quickly forgotten about and never heard from again. I beat the Aqua Grunt in the cave, returned back to Route 116, and was very pleased when the encounter turned out to be a Talo. I caught him, named him Aerosmith, and immediately swapped this bad boy out for Beach Boys. I knew that Aerosmith would not only be a great addition to the team for the upcoming gym, but his Guts ability would make him a valuable party member for the rest of the run. Tono Rosario and Ninja Sex Party also both have evolved around this time, so all in all, pretty good segment of the run for me. So with that, I left Rustboro.
Man, sure would suck if you'd totally spaced out and forgotten to get cut and not realize it until you were at the Elite Four.
Right. I headed straight for Dewford Town. I headed into the second gym, and I swept through it using only Aerosmith by taking advantage of Guts by having him intentionally poisoned before the fights. Guys, trust me, Guts is bananas. That was 2 gyms down and 0 deaths. I was feeling pretty good at this point. I left Dewford and headed towards Slateport. Beat up a bunch of trainers on the beach and in a cafe, then decided to pick a fight with a criminal organization in a museum. I knew that this was all a prelude to the upcoming fight with my rival, the same one that ended the run on the first attempt. But this time, I had a plan. With Aerosmith, I could easily deal with Brendan's beast of a girl.
And then a Team Aqua Grunt one-shot it with the Carvana. Bruh, that bird would have kicked so much ass, and you just let it get bodied right before the fight that you lost on the first run.
So, Aerosmith got put into the 27 Club, we brushed ourselves off, and we continued on. The last bit of business to attend to in Slateport was to compete in a Pokemon contest so that we could score a gift Pokemon. I entered a cute contest with Tono Rosario, and of course we dominated because look at this adorable queen. She's precious and adorable and perfect, and don't you dare say otherwise. And with that victory, we got a cosplaying Pikachu named Baby Metal to join our team. I headed north towards Mauville and trained some on the way to the rival battle, during which time Nightwish evolved. With Baby Metal, I had a new plan to deal with Brendan. I'd use the Luchador costume to give her the move Flying Press, which would be super effective against Grovyle. I didn't want to risk swapping in and letting Baby Metal take a big hit from Grovyle, so I decided to lead the fight with her. I figured that she could make quick work of the Slugma that Brendan leads with, and he'd swap into a Grovyle because why would he ever send out Whalmer to fight an electric rat? Well, Slugma went down easily enough, but then Brendan did the unthinkable.
That's right, this madman sent out the whale, and that ball of blubber nearly kicked her ass then and there. Whalmer used Whirlpool and put Baby Metal down to 15 HP before it went down. Your yellow rat got her ass beat. Now your easy answer to Grovyle was dead to rights if it got hit again.
Which is why I decided to switch into King Crimson. Luckily, I was able to use a combination of Gust and Moonlight to stall and chip away until Grovyle was defeated. With Brendan beaten, I headed on to Mauville, and we inspired Wally by beating the absolute crap out of him. And then we headed into the third gym. With Ninja Sex Party at level 21, this gym didn't frighten me in the least. Or at least it didn't, until Ninja Sex Party got confused during the fight with Watson, and then proceeded to punch himself directly in the nuts 3 times in a row. Luckily, he came to his senses and finished out the third gym with no losses. After that, we headed south to Route 110 to get an encounter that we missed before, and snagged AC/DC the Electrike. I didn't know it at this time, but this little guy would become the hero of the run later. I headed up onto the cycling road, and I cleared it out, evolving Kiss in the process. From there, I returned to Dewford because I realized that I'd made a huge mistake in not getting a fishing rod, and missing several encounters that I could have gotten. I got the old rod and wasted no time in catching a Magikarp as my Dewford encounter, and we named her Fishhook. We traded out King Crimson and welcomed our fishy friend onto the team. The goal here was to level Fishhook to level 20 quickly, and get a powerful Gyarados with Intimidate on the team. Having such a powerful Pokemon would surely be a great boon, especially with us going into Flannery's gym soon. I headed north through Route 111 and into the Fiery Path. I was hoping for a Torkoal, but instead I encountered a Slugma who I named Earth, Wind, and Fire. I was a little disappointed that I didn't get the Tanky Turtle, but it's an okay encounter, I suppose. On the other side of the Fiery Path on Route 112, I encountered and caught a Machop, which I named Village People. After a long time in the party, Tono Rosario was finally retired to the box, and Village People took her place so that I could raise him up and use him as a strong answer for the future Norman fight. I headed towards the ash-covered Route 113, and that's where Fish was.
And then on Route 114, you promptly let it die to a random fisherman. Whalmer got your Pokemon so confused it punched itself to death while the whale rolled all over it. Man, whales really had it out for you this run, huh, boss?
So, Fishhook joined Aerosmith in the 27 Club. I'd only lost 2 Pokemon so far in this run, which was better than my previous runs, but the 2 that were lost were such powerhouses, and I lost them in what felt like were foolish mistakes on my part. I was demoralized, but I tried to shake it off and focus on the fact that it was only 2 losses, despite how brutal they might have been. I was improving, and it was showing, even if it didn't necessarily feel like it in that moment. With the party slot open, Tono Rosario rejoined the team as we continued on to Meteor Falls. Inside was a double battle against Aqua admin Shelly, with the help of Brendan. This fight proved to be no trouble at all, and I breezed through it before heading to Mount Chimney to confront Team Aqua. The Shelly fight here proved to be no threat at all, and I had a solid plan for the Archie fight too. I led with Baby Metal holding a Person Berry, prepared for the swagger from Mightyena. I had hoped for a one-hit KO from Flying Press, but it didn't quite take out the Mightyena. Then Mightyena roared, making Baby Metal swap places with Nightwish. Knowing that there was at least a decent chance that Archie would use swagger, I took a gamble and hard switched back into Baby Metal. The switch paid off, Mightyena used swagger, Baby Metal used her berry, was healed of confusion and got the fat attack boost anyway. Next up was his Sharpedo. Seriously, screw this thing. In the second fight with him, it ended the last run, and I was out for blood on this thing this time around. I chose to use Nuzzle, getting Stab as well as super effective boost, along with the boost from Swagger. This hit almost took down the Sharpedo and paralyzed it, but then it surprised me by swaggering Baby Metal into confusion. I used Electro Ball, hoping that if Baby Metal did hurt itself, it would take a little less damage since it was using a special move rather than a physical one. But Baby Metal hurt itself. Almost took itself out in the fight in one shot. Luckily, the next Electro Ball took out the Sharpedo. Golbat was next, and with Baby Metal in easy kill range, I swapped out to Kiss and let him finish out the battle. Another major boss fight down without a loss of a party member. After the loss of Fishhook just a bit earlier, this felt really good. I headed down the Jagged Pass and into Lava Ridge Town. I was a bit nervous going into Flannery's gym. In my second attempt, even though I'd beaten her gym, it felt like it crippled me to the point that I decided to end the run then and there. In the third attempt, I did better, but I still sustained pretty heavy losses. I knew that this was going to be a decisive segment of the run for me, but I felt like I was much more prepared this time around. I'd learned a lot from my previous attempts, and I had a team that was much more equipped to handle this gym. I headed into the gym and swept through it without incident.
Of course you trashed that gym. You had 6 levels on the gym leader, you doofus. You brought a loaded revolver to a Nerf bat fight.
You're right. I'd won, but it didn't feel good. I felt like I'd kind of cheated the system a little bit. And from that point on, I'd pay more attention to ensure that I wasn't going to have another lopsided fight like that again. As much as I love a rousing game of who's the bitch now, it felt like it kind of defeated the purpose of doing a challenge run. At any rate, I'd won, and next up was a return trip to Petalburg. I felt very prepared for this battle. I had 2 plans, one in the form of Luchador Baby Metal, and a second in the form of the village people. I effortlessly breezed through this shit.
Right up until Baby Metal got absolutely nuked by a roided out Zangoose.
Listen, nobody tell Jan because I know that it's his favorite Pokemon, but this moment right here, it instilled in me a deep-seated hatred for this mongoose bastard. Is my hatred totally irrational and unjustified and caused by my own stupidity? Absolutely. I don't care. This son of a bitch took my 3rd Pokemon from me, and I felt it! Baby Metal became the 3rd member of the 27 Club, and I added AC/DC to the party. At this point, he was critically underleveled, and I was just hoping to use the EXP share to catch him up. Having lost Baby Metal and only having village people with a type advantage, I decided that I needed to devise a safer strategy. I led with Ninja Sex Party, equipped with a shiny new move, Protect! The monstrous Slacking came out and I set to work, alternating between Protect to shield myself when Slacking attacked, and Mud Shot to chip away at its health on its truant turns. Using this strategy, the first Slacking was brought down without incident. Next came the Vigoroth. Ninja Sex Party took a major hit from Retaliate, and I chose to switch to the village people. I knew that there was a decent chance that Vigoroth would deal some major damage, so I chose to use Revenge. I was correct. Vigoroth attacked with Retaliate, and village people gave the angry sloth the people's elbow and took him down. And it was finally down to the final Slacking. I knew that Slacking was going to attack on its turn, and I knew that whatever was on the field was sure to die. I also knew that the only safe way to beat this monster would be to get Ninja Sex Party back out and use Protect to deal with it the way that I did the first one. So I made the call. I swapped out and sent out AC/DC, a level 16 Electrike. Slacking gave the poor dog the old Yeller treatment, and I took the chance to get the free switch into Ninja Sex Party. But before the little electric dog went down, it left Slacking a parting gift: paralysis, thanks to its static ability. With Ninja Sex Party out on the field, I set to work dealing with this Slacking the same way that I dealt with the first. Everything was going great until I made a critical error. When Slacking got low on health, Norman used a Hyper Potion on it, on one of the turns when Slacking would have attacked. Not realizing that this did not count as an action, I expected the following turn to be a Truant turn. So I used Mudshot, and instead of being greeted by the usual Truant, I was handed a gut-wrenching shock as it used Swagger on me. The turn counter had been moved by 1, my Pokemon was confused, and it was standing in front of something that could almost certainly one-shot it. I was facing, for the first time in a long time, what felt like the possible end of the run. I felt like I had to risk it, and kept Ninja Sex Party on the field. I used Mudshot, and it worked through the confusion, dealing some damage. On the next turn, I knew that Slacking would attack, and I had to use Protect. Unfortunately, Ninja Sex Party hurt himself in his confusion. That was it. In that second, I felt for sure that this run was over. But in that moment, a little miracle happened. AC/DC gave a middle finger to Slacking from beyond the grave, and gave me a turn of that bastard being fully paralyzed. In that moment, the run was given new life, and I felt like I might be able to turn this fight around. I was unsure if being fully paralyzed would count against the Truant cycle, so to be safe, I made the switch back to village people. It was a Truant turn. I knew that village people would die this turn, but this also gave me the chance to possibly deal some damage to the Slacking and get the free switch in back to Ninja Sex Party, resetting the tempo back in my favor. I used Karate Chop. It didn't kill the Slacking, but it did do significant damage. Slacking took down the village people. I got a free switch in back to Ninja Sex Party, and I ended the battle with a final Mudshot. Ninja Sex Party evolved, we had won the battle, and we had the 5th badge. AC/DC and the village people joined the 27 Club. Knowing that I would soon be getting a very powerful encounter, I chose to leave one slot open and bring Earth, Wind, and Fire onto the team to have a fire type for coverage. I headed out to Route 118 and was promptly greeted by Steven to go grab a legendary bird. Steven and I headed to the southern island and met a Latias, whom we defended from Aqua Admin Matt and an Aqua Grunt. This fight proved to be trivial, and having earned its trust, Latias joined the party, which I named 21 Pilots. I debated whether or not to use this Pokemon since legendaries are so absurdly powerful.
Boss, trust me, you needed that bird. I saw the previous runs. You needed every boost you could get.
I headed north to Route 119. I used some repels here because I knew that if I played my cards right, I could guarantee a Phoebus encounter as long as I fished in the right spot. So I headed through the route, fighting some trainers along the way, and eventually arrived at the Weather Institute. The Weather Institute had been taken over by Team Aqua, and at this point, honestly, I was just sick of bumping into them every 5 seconds. So I decided to show this so-called organization what happens when you constantly pester a mob boss. Sure, the Sharpedo might have already been a fish, but I made damn sure it was sleeping with fishes that night. With that little detour dealt with, I continued on my way towards the next city. But before I got there, I snagged the Phoebus that I'd been waiting this whole route to get, and I named him Queen. With the glorious Queen in the party, I now had a new goal. The Pokemon League Challenge could wait. I had to show the world this dazzling beauty. I entered a few Pokemon contests and absolutely crushed the competition. That got me enough resources to get some Pokeblocks to max out Queen's beauty stat, and with that, I did just a small bit of grinding, and upon leveling up, Queen evolved into Milotic. I would say that this was an ugly duckling story, but look at Queen before. I defy you to tell me that he wasn't a gorgeous son of a bitch. just like our precious Tono Rosario. With the very important goal of sharing Queen's beauty with the world, I continued on to Fortree City. I headed into the 6th gym to face Winona, Hoenn's best girl. Fight me, Flannery fans. The plan for the fight was actually really simple. Lead with Ninja Sex Party and Mega Evolve, and then throw some rocks at birds until they died. Unfortunately, we ran out of rocks. Having run out of stones to throw, I decided to call in a tactical airstrike with the help of our own personal fighter jet, 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots took down Pelipper, leaving just the Skarmory to worry about. I ended up switching out to Nightwish to ensure that 21 Pilots would stay safe, and finished out the fight without incident. That was 6 badges down, and at this point there were only 5 members in the 27 Club, so I was feeling pretty good. I only had 2 more badges to go, and I knew at the very least this next gym was basically guaranteed to be a freebie. I spent some time grinding to help some of my weaker Pokemon catch up because I hadn't yet taken the candy pill, but we'll talk more about that later. Then I headed towards Lily Cove, making a stop by Mount Pyre to catch a Duskull, whom I had no choice but to name Calliope Mori. Next up was Lily Cove, where I would face off against my rival Brendan. For whatever stupid reason, this fight is incredibly free, because Brendan's Sceptile just doesn't know any grass moves in this fight, so Ninja Sex Party was able to sweep through and flex those big old muscles of his in his Mega form. From there, I head into the Team Aqua hideout and embarrass Archie. Come on, dude. You gotta hire better help for your criminal organization. These guys are jokes. Speaking of embarrassments, what is this 7th gym? A double battle? And they only have 2 Pokemon? That's absurd at this point. And the 7th badge was mine. Now, the time had finally come. The hour of my vengeance was nigh. Next up was the final battle against Archie. This is where my last run ended, and it was time to make this villainous bastard pay. What I did to this man's team was so horrific, I cannot in good conscience show it on YouTube. It was so violent that the aftershock of my fury went on to land upon Wallace in a display so similarly grotesque that I can't show it on YouTube either. All you need to know is that during this time, Calliope Mori evolved into Dusclops, Kiss made a noble sacrifice and pushed us towards victory, and I caught an ancient godlike being of mass destruction and shoved it into a computer never to be heard from again. Really? Just a normal Tuesday.
Don't let this idiot lie to you. The old boomer Goblin lost the footage and had to beg his editor to find a way to make this bit work.
With that, the 8th gym badge was mine, and all that was left was Victory Road and then the Elite Four. I entered Victory Road and began making my way through, fighting trainers along the way. Oh, right, I encountered a Lairon, but didn't end up catching it. Anyway, so I kept going through Victory Road.
Not so fast. Tell them why you didn't catch it.
I was worried that my over-leveled queen would one-shot the Lairon and I'd lose out on the encounter. So I decided to use a dragon move since I knew that it would resist it. So I used Dragon Tail and, yeah.
This idiot tried to big brain the fight only to faceplant the landing. Now, tell him about the hat.
My Twitch chat made me wear a dunce hat, okay? Anyway, I continued on through Victory Road, and it was pretty uneventful with the exception of one fight. An encounter with Ace Trainer Hope and her lone Frostlass instilled a deep terror within me. This demon nearly killed 3 of my Pokemon with its high speed and confusion tactics. Thankfully, I didn't lose anyone in the fight. But for a brief moment, I was horrified that the run was going to be ended by this random trainer. I continued on without incident and was finally at the Pokemon League and was nearly ready to face the Elite Four. I had 2 final tasks that I wanted to do to round out my team. I wanted to go and get the TM to teach Ice Beam to Queen, and I wanted to get an Eviolite to boost Calliope Mori's defenses since I couldn't evolve her into a Dusknoir. Fun fact, did you know that you could go through the entirety of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire without ever once using the HM cut? I found that out when I got all the way to the Elite Four, made the realization that I needed it to get an Eviolite, and then was surprised to see that I'd totally forgotten about getting the damn move in the first place. Anyway, with Ice Beam and an Eviolite in hand, I returned to the Pokemon League and made my final preparations. I finalized my choices for the team to take into the Elite Four. Queen, Calliope Mori, 21 Pilots, Nightwish, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Ninja Sex Party. I set Queen to the front of the party and stepped forward to challenge the first of the Elite Four, the Dark-type trainer Sydney. Queen took out his Mightyena with no problem, and when he sent out Shiftry as planned, I switched to Earth, Wind, and Fire. Totally contrary to the plan, however, that Shiftry did a lot of damage to my boy. So after the Shiftry went down and Sharpedo came out, I knew that I'd have to swap out and come up with a new strategy to deal with the Cacturn later. I switched back to Queen, knowing that he could easily take the punishment of anything Sharpedo could dish out while whittling it down. Next, out came the Cacturn, and I hoped that it would use a grass move because it saw Queen, so I made the somewhat risky switch to 21 Pilots. One Mega Evolved Fly later, Cacturn went down. Finally, Absol came out, and I let Ninja Sex Party finish off the first Elite Four member with 0 losses. I healed up and proceeded to the next battle. Freebie was totally uneventful, and Nightwish nuked her entire team without incident. Next up was Glacia, so I placed Earth, Wind, and Fire at the front of the party. The Fiery Snail took down the first Galele with a single shot, and then she sent out Whaleren, so I swapped to Ninja Sex Party. A couple of Mega Evolved Earthquakes were more than enough to handily deal with this tanky monster. Frostlass was next, so I swapped back to Earth, Wind, and Fire, who, thanks to him being protected from confusion by a Person Berry, was able to take down the rest of Glacia's team. 3 Elite Four members down, 0 losses, and I was feeling really good. The next fight was the one that had me worried. Drake's dragons are powerful and can be spooky, but I had a plan. Lead with a Lax Incense holding Queen to set up double teams, and hopefully dodge the devastating dragon attacks while sweeping through his team with Ice Beams. He sent out his Altaria, and I let Queen get to work setting up and using Recover whenever needed. With Evasion maxed, I started to use Ice Beam, taking down Altaria and Flygon without incident. Then out came his Salamence. I was scared of this dragon because of its high speed, and I was worried that if it got an attack off, it would just nuke me. Thankfully, Queen beat it to the punch and swept it along with the rest of Drake's team with Ice Beam with no problem. The Elite Four had been beaten with no losses on my team, and all that was left was the final battle, the fight against Champion Steven. This might sound silly to some, but it was a really big deal for me. Up until deciding to do this challenge, I'd always considered myself to be a really casual fan, and generally pretty terrible and uninformed at Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, I still don't think that I'm really good at Pokemon, but getting to this point meant a lot to me. Before this, I would have never thought that I could have accomplished what I had so far. This Nuzlocke had instilled in me a new appreciation for the series, and a new confidence in myself. I was nervous at the thought of possibly failing here, and I was proud that I'd gotten this far, regardless of how the final battle was going to go. I was a mixture of emotions, and I don't think that I could express all of my thoughts in any way better than just letting the video roll. It's riddled with what I'm sure are obvious play mistakes to those who are more experienced players. But that doesn't matter to me. What does matter is that this, however minor it is my crowning achievement in Pokemon up to this point in my life. I hope you enjoy watching the final battle against Champion Steven, and the conclusion of my first ever Pokemon Nuzlocke. Thank you for watching. The Ninja Sex Party. We Mega Evolve here. We Mega Evolve. Do we use Earthquake or do we use... We use Earthquake. Yeah. We use Earthquake. 4 times effective. 4 times effective with Stab. And I think we win from here, actually. Laleep is kind of spooky, I think. We can serve PP. He withdrew Aggron. I did not expect that. Played all? Okay. This works. 1-hit kill, right? Okay. Probably switches into Cradily. Yeah. This is the one that's spooky because he can 4-time Giga Drain me. I don't switch out though. I have to be aggressive. We look at the type, takes 2 from fighting, bug, steel, and ice. Takes 1 from ground and water. We do earthquake because it does more damage. Hopefully it one-shots. Giga Drain. Oh boy. Ninja Sex Party, you did good. You did good. I think we swapped to Calliope here. Yeah, we swapped to Calliope. Will-o-wisp to get the burn. We'll do the Confuse Ray. Hopefully it goes off. Oh, rip. I think we just... I think we have to go for the Hex. I don't think we waste time on setting up Confuse Ray anymore. Come on, get out of confusion. Get out of confusion. Come on. Come on, hit through. Damn it! Shadow Sneak. Did nothing. That's so unfortunate. Calliope! You did good. Like I said, we expected Cradily to be spooky. Switch to Nightwish. Do I outspeed? I don't think I outspeed Cradily. Yeah, that confusion RNG boned me. Oh wow, I did not expect to outspeed the Cradily. It's gonna eat the thing. It's gonna get healed. Wait! Why didn't it eat the thing? I gave it a berry! I gave it the poison one. Because I expected it to use Sludge Bomb. Oh boy, no, not like this. Crunch, please. Flinch, something. You're kidding me. Now it uses Sludge Bomb. Come on, Crunch. Get through, Crunch. You're kidding me. This luck is absurd. We cannot put Milotic in. Ancient Power Rock, but we outspeed it. Do I use Psychic or Dragon Pulse? Rock, Grass. They're gonna take neutral damage regardless. No, flying hits for half. With, or no, that's with grass. Hold on, grass type. Flying hits for neutral. And I lose stab. But it does protect me. I think I go with Psychic, though. Because it'll reduce the damage of Giga Drain if it tries to use it. Okay. So the stab was enough to kill it. Earthquake Stone Edge is spooky. But I think I outspeed him. Steel Rock. It takes half from Psychic and Dragon. It takes a quarter from Flying. I think that I go for Psychic. Oh, okay, I outspeed. Oh, it's at 1 HP, I forgot. Because I chipped it down so much. I forgot it was at 1 HP. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Healing Wish? Absolutely not. Keep old moves. Yes. Armaldo. Armaldo is Rock Bug. This is also spooky. Rock Bug. X Scissor is really spooky, and so is Rock Blast. It takes half damage. It takes half damage from flying, or it takes neutral damage from flying. It takes neutral from Psychic, it takes neutral from Dragon. Do I fly to protect myself? Or do I use the stab? I think I use stab. And just risk it. X Scissor, don't kill, don't kill, don't kill, don't kill, don't kill. Okay, okay. Dragon Pulse, we got it, we got it. It's dead. Alright, we have Metagross. Got Bullet Punch, Meteor Mash, Zen Headbutt, and Giga Impact. So it has no moves that can super effective me. Yeah, if you're probably dead, it's always best to go for the attack. Alright. Step 1, he's gonna Mega Evolve, right? He's gonna Mega Evolve and probably use a Steel-type stab move, so I recover. Yeah, he's gonna hurt. He's gonna hurt. But I use Recover. I get health back. Meteor Mash, I should be able to survive the hit, I think. Takes quarter from Psychic. I think I fly. Anything that I have is gonna deal half damage. I think I fly. Oh no, oh, he's so fast! Alright. Queen. Oh, Bullet Punch is priority? Alright, let's look. Meteor Mash, Zen Headbutt, Giga Impact. Are any of these moves guaranteed to hit? Yeah, this might be it. We might lose here. $90. 90. 90. Water. I do resist steel. So he's probably going to try and use Giga Impact. So I think I set up double teams. Yeah, I think I set up double teams. Giga Impact. Oh no! Please don't kill. Oh my god. Alright. We recover. We recover again. We're good, we're good, we're still alive. I gotta hope for no crits. We double team. We recover, he has to recharge. Meteor Mash should take half damage. We recover again. We double team. Survive, no crit, no crit, no crit, no crit. Woo! That's 4 Giga Impacts, right? Out of 5? We recover. Was that 5? Was that 5? We should be safe, right? Alright, we continue to set up, just in case. Alright. We surf. We surf. We surf. We got it! Let's go, baby! Hell yeah! Hell yeah, let's go, baby! So I, the champion, fall in defeat. Receive 11,800. What?